You have discovered the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. This is episode number 9. I'm John, and I'm sitting next to my beautiful wife of 34 years, Suzanne. And one of us has a wonderful mother-in-law. So
I think that's me.
You think that's you? Well, I think it's me too.
Oh,
So first off, it's been a while since we have actually had a podcast because we did episode 8. We talked about one of us needs more Jesus than the other. And then I said at the end of the show, our next episode is going to be on mother-in-laws. And literally, as soon as I hit stop recording, you said we're not doing that episode.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that necessarily.
Because now part of it is we are blessed. Both of us have mothers. My mother is 89. Your mother is...
Yeah.
Well, some people might think that I was created immaculately. But anyway, we both have mothers. And the chance that our mother... First off, our audience for this podcast is not our mothers. We are not targeting 89 or 82-year-old... How old is your mom? 82, something like that?
Yeah, 81.
And so she's early. But anyway, she's younger than my mother. But there's no way in God's creation that my mother will ever find this podcast or know about it.
She wouldn't know how to do it.
No, she wouldn't know how to do it. She kind of knows how to scroll Facebook, but I think
I'm kind of thinking maybe you hide this from my mother.
Well, I hope
it would be
your mother...
so many questions.
It would be so many questions.
It's just, I'm not prepared.
I know. And so we argued. You said, you're not going to say anything. We can't do a mother-in-law episode because my mother's going to hear it. Somebody's going to show it to her. My cousin Vicky's going to play it to her at church. Something will happen. And somehow your mother-in-law or my mother-in-law would discover this, and then it would cause issues.
It would be somehow, viewed negatively.
Right. So I'm not going to talk negatively about my mother-in-law because my mother-in-law loves me.
She does.
She chose. I'm not going to talk about like when she came. I'm not going to talk about like when they drove 15 hours from Texas to join us for Thanksgiving. She got so mad at me at the Thanksgiving table same day and turned around and drove 15 hours home.
Yeah. I was taking a nap because I was pregnant.
That's right.
And didn't even know that they were gone until I had come downstairs.
We had this table fully set for Thanksgiving dinner, and your ass of a husband was sitting there enjoying a turkey by himself because your mother decided... I'm not going to talk about that. So we're not going to talk about those type of things or how your mom likes to talk and not listen. She'll ask you a question and walk away and you still are answering. I'm not going to talk about that. So, and we're also not going to talk about my mother and how she throws everything away.
Everything she throws away.
I don't think people really care that one time she was so helpful in helping you sort through all of your clothes, and some of your clothes went to trash and some of the clothes were even going to storage. And unfortunately, your entire summer wardrobe
went to the trash.
Of linen.
I literally chased the trash man down, called the trash company, not just like to Goodwill. No. Trash.
They were gone.
Gone forever.
So when it's summer around here, for a couple of years there, you had kind of a thin collection of clothes. But
a lot of new accessories.
Yeah, so we're not going to talk about anything like that. We're going to talk about positive things. Because your mother and my mother both knew when we first got married that they thought that we were going to be together.
Yeah,
and we've talked about this before. But
you remember on the plane ride back, my mom turned to my dad and said, I feel like we just met our son-in-law. This is it. We met our son-in-law. And it was 4 years later.
I was a freshman in college and had short tennis shorts when your mother first met me.
Super cute. We did talk about that, I think.
Let me turn your microphone down so nobody hears your sucking of your mama juice there. Okay, now I'm turning it back up. Peach lemonade. By the way, it is summer and we have beautiful peaches here from the state of Georgia. Every single week we get these peaches. And
from
this podcast is being brought to you by the Peach Truck. If you're not familiar with the Peach Truck, go to thepeachtruck.com and order your peaches. Ours get delivered every Friday.
Every Friday.
And they also do a route through the Midwest, and they come to your local parking lots, and you can order boxes of peaches.
And they are delicious.
They are delicious. So support thepeachtruck.com. So going back to this, my brother lived in Pakistan at the time, or India, someplace, and we were just Pakistan. We just visited him, and arranged marriages there are much fewer divorces in arranged marriages than there are in love marriages.
I think we were kind of divinely arranged.
Yeah, and so my parents said, wouldn't it be great if we could arrange a marriage with that family that we met on vacation, the Halls, and they loved your family and got to know them.
And her moms got along, or get along, even now. I mean, older and
they did. And my dad loved your mom, and your dad like my mom. So it was all happy family. But before we got married, your mother loved me. Family. Your mother was like a spiritual mom to me. She would call me, she'd pray with me, she would mentor me. She loved me. Every boyfriend that you had, she was like praying him out of your life.
This is true.
And my parents always really thought that you were pretty Perfect. Amazing. So something happened though when we got married, and all of a sudden I became your husband and somebody who kind of got in the middle between your relationship. And first off, every man out there, you need to realize you can't get in between that relationship, the mother and the daughter. But you're also a mother-in-law.
I am, and I'm so excited to be a mother-in-law. Well, I love my daughter-in-law.
And we're not going to go too deep in this. But we love our daughter-in-law. I mean, my mother-in-law Thea always called me her mother-in-love, and she's always loved me, son-in-love, and she would always underline that in the birthday card, son-in-love, and exclamation point stuff. And I do love my mother-in-law.
Well, y'all are a lot alike.
We had our son. We have one son who is married. And hopefully someday the son, who we cannot mention his name, will be married. But our older son, his first serious girlfriend, we knew would not be the right family for him to marry into.
That was not a good fit.
No, it wasn't a good fit because she had never been. Her family had never taken her to church, and they weren't church people.
No, but you got to swing and a miss. I mean, you have to practice.
But the whole point was, our son really loved this girl, thought she was great, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, this is not the family. You marry into a family, and this is not the family that you're supposed to marry into.
That's true.
And he didn't like that. But then when they broke up, he started dating other people. And as soon as he started dating our beautiful daughter-in-law, Natalie, what was amazing about it was he really liked this Natalie. We've shared this before on a previous episode. The coolest thing was her parents, after they had gone out for a couple of weeks, like I think we had met her once, they called and said, our kids are getting to know each other. They're dating. How about coming over for pizza? And we went over and made pizzas. We just thought that was
fantastic.
And they were the coolest in-laws. Our son has an awesome mother-in-law, has an awesome father-in-law who love him. They accept him as their own.
And speak truth to him. When he's not on the up and up, if he's not
the great thing is, and they're gifted differently than we are.
And
his father-in-law, Roland, treats him like his own son and just, gives him counsel. He loves being with him. So I think you're a great mother-in-law.
Well, thanks.
How do you think your daughter-in-law feels about her mother-in-law being a felon?
Oh, we're going to go there real quick, aren't we? Just
okay. No.
Right there.
I mean, since our last episode, you were in jail.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, if you do not know Suzanne, she does look like this. She wears her Johnny Wash. She carries a nice purse. She has nice shoes. She has nice jewelry. And
they put all of this in handcuffs. And it was a huge mistake.
So hold on. I don't really know the whole story.
How do you not know the whole story?
Well, because I was the compassionate husband. First off, when you got arrested, I immediately thought it was my fault.
When you got arrested.
No. You got arrested.
Oh, we all thought it was your fault. Somehow.
Everybody thought it was my fault. Like I didn't. So we're going to make this public. Suzanne.
I know. It's the first time I've talked about it, like out in the open.
I am married. I am married to a woman. I'm married to an ex-con, a woman who spent a night in jail. So, do you want to tell the story?
Yeah, I'll tell the story. So, the day of, let's just say,
what were you doing? I was in town, actually.
Yes, which was a miracle, which I think was a total God thing because you were in town. Had
so God's
you not
in control
been
of your
town,
incarceration. So
well, yes, because if you had not been in town, it might not have gone away so quickly.
Because I'm like that.
Just went and was at the hairstylist, got my hair done. I was looking fresh.
Hair all done.
Hair all done. Had on cute little outfit. Had all the normal. The jewelry,
May,
the whole things. Yeah, it hadn't been very long ago. And I had to come to grips with it before I could
share.
Yeah, could talk publicly about this incident.
to the 20 people that listen to our podcast.
So, yeah. So, Julianne is with me, right? Okay, so we're in the car. We're coming back from getting my hair done. And I was at a light in downtown Noblesville, and they've redone that area, and I couldn't see in my truck, I couldn't see if I was in the right lane. Well, I was obviously not in the right lane because there was a sheriff behind me, and he promptly
So one lane turns left, you're in the lane that goes straight, but you think you're supposed to turn left.
No.
You're in the turning lane, you go straight when you're supposed to turn.
Right, when I'm supposed to turn right. And I needed to go straight. I was headed to the bank, and then we were going to the club to have lunch, and it was the weekend of Natalie's birthday, or week of Natalie's birthday, and so, So
you just got your hair did.
Yep.
Hair done.
Yep.
Hair did.
Looking good.
Texans say hair did. That's why I'm saying that. So you're looking good. You're going to the bank to get some money, and then you're going to the country club to have some lunch.
To have some lunch, with my girlies. And so I get pulled over in the Kroger parking lot. No big deal. I realized I probably should have been pulled over. I mean, I couldn't figure out what lane I was in. And he came over. The policeman was super nice. He asked, for all the things. And then he said, Time
out. This is usually when I would be blamed because
something would have been expired.
Well, no. We have like 17 vehicles registered with the Indiana Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
Our son always complains that he gets pulled over because of an unpaid ticket that I have or something of that nature because they're all registered in my name.
And I have been pulled over. Yeah, and as soon as they see me, they go, "Oh, you're not John Stewart."
Yeah, so
and they just let you go.
Well, and there's a ticket. There's a ticket up in
Gas
City, Indiana that needs to be paid. Anyway, so I'm thinking that's what's happening.
Yeah, so I get pulled over, and he's super nice, very handsome,
of course,
super cute. Yeah,
are you Facebook friends now?
Yeah, not mad about looking at him, and then he takes my stuff and he comes back, and Jules and I are just kind of talking
about looking at him.
Yeah, I'm not mad about looking at him. He's kind of nice. Okay. And so then he comes back and he asked me about my insurance, and I said, you know what? I have that on my phone, so I'll pull it up for you. So he goes back to his car, second time, comes back, and I said, here it is, and I'm thinking this is taking an awful long time for me to just have not turned in the right lane, know. So then he comes back and he says, can you turn the car off? Because it's, I'm hot, so I have the air on. Mm-hmm. And he says, can you turn the car off and come back to my vehicle? And I said, well, sure, no problem. So I do all the things that he asked, and I get over there, and he goes, well, this is not what I expected when I pulled you over today. And I'm just looking at him, and he said, there's a warrant out for your arrest. And I said, excuse me, what? A warrant for me? Are you looking at me? Do you see me right now? What would I have done? And he goes, who is in the car with you? Is that your daughter? And I said, yes. And
so when did I get the phone call? Because Julianne did call me.
Not yet.
Okay, keep going.
Not yet. So she said, he said, can she drive? And I said, no, she doesn't have her license yet. And I said, my daughter-in-law, I'm freaking out. I'm like spewing out all the things. My daughter-in-law went to my house. We were supposed to meet. She can come here, but I need to call her. And, I'm thinking this is going to be a quick go to the courthouse, write a check, do something, whatever. Because whatever it is, whatever it is, it's got to be something easy. Because I don't do anything wrong. I do nothing wrong. If I did anything wrong growing up, I got the finger for. I was terrified.
Well, no, your mother
do anything wrong.
You had to sit upright in the first period.
Holy
of church.
cow! I did not. I am not a rule breaker.
If you've watched any of these episodes, if one of the two of us is in trouble, which one do you think it is? Okay, so keep going, Suzanne.
It ain't me. I'm just saying. So I go back to the car. I'm like shaking, and I tell Julianne, and she, by the way, was having an anxiety attack earlier in the day. And so I was freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, she's going to freak out. She was so calm. I was losing it. And I said, you call Daddy right now.
So did other policemen show up at this point in time? What's happening?
Well, they did, but I didn't see him come up yet. So I tell her to call you, and then...
So did he tell you what you had a warrant for?
No, he didn't even know. He didn't even know. So I go back to the car, and by then there are 3 or 4 other policemen there, and I'm thinking, oh my God.
Because you might make a run for it.
Yeah, they think that I'm truly a bad person. So really nice guy or policeman stays with Julianne until Natalie can get there. Mm-hmm. And
our daughter-in-law.
Yeah, she came and got her, and
I got a phone call somewhere around here, Julianne calling, Mom's been arrested.
Yeah. What did she even say to
Mom's been arrested. And Julianne's even saying like, "Mom's been arrested," with a tone like, "And it's your fault." Like she didn't say that, but she's like, "Mom's been arrested." So anyway,
and they asked me. They said, "Do you want your phone? Do you want your handbag and all that?" And I was like, "Yes, of course." So
and I get a phone call because you've been arrested. I'm thinking it's traffic related. I have no idea what's going on. All I know is,
I don't know.
And I said, "Let me talk to your mom." And she goes, "They won't let me have her. She's in the police car."
Yeah, like so. He goes, "I'm going to have to cuff you and put you in the car." And I
and
said,
this is in the parking lot at
"What?"
Kroger.
At Kroger, like by our bank, like where everybody I know can stop and see us. And they said, "Yeah, we need to put you in handcuffs and put you in the car." And then by then, the tears are flowing. I'm like, you don't
Julianne's,
understand.
Oh, you're crying. I thought you meant the
know me. You don't understand. If there is a soda pop in the cart at the grocery store, I go back in and pay for it. I am not a bad person. I don't know what I did. And he said, well, it just came up on my screen because he was a sheriff. I guess he could see things. He said, have you never been pulled over in the last whatever? Because the year that it showed up was like...
It's 2012 is what you told me.
Yeah.
2012.
And then it like resurfaced in 2017 or something like that. And then nothing. And I mean, like I've lost my driver's license twice since then.
Yeah. and you've been pulled over before, but nothing ever happened.
I've been pulled over. I've had 2 tickets.
Okay, but they arrest
which
you.
Which are paid.
They arrest you.
Arrest me like put
jail.
me in the car, like put your head down, get you in the car in handcuffs.
If you're listening to this podcast right now, if you look at the video, which will be on YouTube, Suzanne is ducking her head because she's a hand is on her freshly blonde hair and putting her in the car.
And they're not handcuffs like you play with your kids when you think that it's not so bad. They're so bad. They hurt so bad. And I had all...
And you have a high tolerance for pain. Anyway, so they shove you in the police car. They haul you to jail. Julianne has called me and said, Mom's going to jail. And I'm like, what is happening here? So I hustle up to the Hamilton County Jail. And
if y'all know me, if anyone knows me, you know that I do not go outside my bubble. Like I'm a tough girl. Like I'm a tough one.
Yeah, you are.
But I don't put myself in situations that are like really uncomfortable. And this was truly the most uncomfortable I've ever been.
We've not told this story
really
before,
like a fish out of water.
Let me hop in. So my perspective, I'm outside. Finally, the sheriff comes up and says, I said, what has she been arrested for? And he goes, well...
Did he actually see you or did you
No, I was waiting out front for you. Now,
were.
What's amazing, if you've never been to jail, you don't actually get to see the people because like there's jailers and you're back in a holding cell or whatever. I can't see you. I can't talk to you.
I'm getting the heebie-jeebies just now thinking
anyway,
about it.
Whole thing is you're in a holding cell. I'm outside trying to, first off, my first call is to the lawyer going, can you figure out what the heck's going on here? Like, I don't know what's going on. And my big thing is it's 4:30 on the afternoon. And
no, it was earlier than that.
When I'm standing out in front of the parking lot, by the time you got there, it was like 2 o'clock.
Yeah, it took a while.
Anyway, by the time I get up there, by the time I see the sheriff, he comes up and says, what's going on? He goes, well, it shows that there is a warrant out for her arrest from Marion County. And I'm like, for what?
And you got to understand, if you don't live here, we're in Hamilton County.
So in Texas, this would be like the South Lake Grapevine Colleyville area.
Yeah.
And Dallas would be Marion County is
scary.
Indianapolis. Well, it's not scary for people who live in Indianapolis. It's a lovely place to live.
If you live in the right part of Indianapolis.
Yeah, but anyway, Marion County is where they got the big jail. And so I'm like, she has a warrant from Marion County? And like, first off, I'm thinking, I don't think I did this. Like up to this point, I'm thinking she's being arrested because of something that I've done. Because
this point,
I didn't. I'm totally going, oh dear God, I'm going to be sleeping in the horse trailer tonight. I'll be in the van. There's no way that my wife is in jail right now in a holding cell, which I'm sure the holding cell is nice and clean and it's aromatic and you've got a window looking outside.
I will tell you all about that.
I watch Andy Griffith. I see what those cells are like. Aunt B comes in. There's a rocking chair. There's a blanket.
There were no chicken and dumplings. I'll just tell you that right now.
Well, they probably got a private bathroom for you to use. But
no.
Anyway, so I'm outside. The sheriff comes up and he immediately apologizes. Because he's like, I'm sorry.
They are all apologizing.
And he said, I am so sorry about this. I didn't know this was here, but she has a warrant from 2012 in Marion County. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So then I'm starting to make phone calls, all this kind of stuff. Well, rush to the end of what happened here. In 2012, I was working with the Boy Scouts. I was on the road traveling or whatever. And there was a check that was returned. We don't even have checking account. Well, we have checking account. We don't have checks.
I don't have checks.
In 2012, in Costco, you wrote a check for $100 or so.
No, yeah, for a couple $100, and then
anyway, it was returned.
I'm not real good to subtract and do all the things.
Whatever happened, it
came back.
It came back. You went to
took cash.
You took cash to Costco and paid them in cash.
Like I remember it like it was yesterday. Yes, because the kids were little and they were all over the place. They were running. I had to
If you're listening to the podcast and not watching the video, my wife's hands are very active because she uses her hands to tell stories and she just hit the microphone. Anyway, so you remember going to Costco, paying that in cash.
Paying that
and doing the whole thing, going out the whole thing. So this is 2012. So, literally...
it's been taken care of years ago, but they did not go into the computer and remove it.
Well, and then what happens is it gets put to collection. Somebody filed a case, all this kind of stuff. And honest to God,
if anything was sent here to the house, I probably threw it away because I knew I paid it.
We don't know. Neither one of us remember ever getting paperwork on this or anything from the county. And they said, "Oh, well, it would have been mailed to you." Well, if you come to our house, we get so much mail. It's like we just toss stuff or we store stuff or whatever. But anyway, at some point between 2012 and 2013, that 11-year period of time, you were sent some sort of a notification. And
I probably threw it away.
You probably threw it away, or you put it on my stack and I threw it away. But something happened. So I start calling lawyer friend. This podcast is not being sponsored by Heinzman Law Group, but I will put a plug for my friend Jeffrey. He calls a Marion County prosecutor. He tells, now here's the issue that I'm told. Your wife is in jail. She cannot. So I call down. It's like 429 at this point in time. I'm trying to pay because the fee was $700.
No. You only paid $400 and something. Because I remember it was such a minimal fee.
So anyway, but the thing was, I paid it online immediately while
it was done before I got to the police
It was done
station.
before you even got to the jail. I had paid it. But Marion County said, we can't process that until she's here in Marion County. So I'm like, what does that mean? Like, can I drive her down there? No, she's in jail. You have to wait for official jail transport. And you can tell this story in a minute, but transport has to take her to Marion County. They won't even release her, even though I've just paid it. You have to go to Marion County. So I talked to the lady, and I'm calling like the police transport people, all this kind of stuff. First, I called a policeman friend who's one of our dearest friends. I said, is there any way you can help here? He goes, honestly, no, there's nothing I can do. He said, I'm not even allowed to pick her up and take her to Marion County, or
because he would have totally taken me.
So I'm calling people that I know, looking who works for Marion County, who works for Marion County Transport, trying to find this all out. And I have a few friends, so I'm calling people.
Yeah, just a few.
So finally, I get a hold of somebody who says, she's going to have to wait for Marion County Transport. They'll usually be up there in a day. Sometimes it's a couple of days. I'm like, excuse me?
The lady who fingerprinted me at Marion County told me that
Marion County or Hamilton County?
Marion County. She told me that she used to work for transport and that it usually took 3 to 4 days. She goes, you don't know how lucky
my wife is in jail. I'm panicking,
looking as I do,
trying to get her out, trying to do this thing, and she just has to. I've already paid the fine, even though I don't think we could have fought it or whatever. And we start making phone calls and things of that nature. So tell me your side of the story.
Okay, so
what happens? So you go, you're in the police car, you go to the jail.
Yep, he takes me in.
I would guarantee that a majority of our listeners, are probably never going to have this experience of ever going to jail. So feel free to tell me what happens. Mother-in-law.
So they bring you, they bring you into like the prisoner drop off kind of thing. And here I am, I'm handcuffed, and they take you in for booking. And there's a guy at a desk or I guess it's like a bar kind of thing. Like he seemed like he was so much taller. And I am weeping because I have no idea what's happening. Again, outside my bubble. You don't know what the charge is? You don't know. No, I don't. They can't tell me anything.
Are you blaming me?
Probably.
Okay, keep going.
But really, I just wanted to come home. I was just so scared. And
we hadn't talked on the phone yet.
No, we hadn't been able to talk. I didn't know anything. All I knew is that you had paid my bond, but it didn't matter. And I just kept saying, I don't understand why that doesn't matter, So they said, we have to take your purse. Well, I had as my daughter-in-law calls it, my Mary Poppins bag, which is my biggest handbag, and it was full of stuff. I was going to the jeweler.
This is a Louis Vuitton that has her initials on it. This is one of your favorite purses.
It's a great big black one, and it has your initials on the side. It has pink and it wasn't that one. It was the black one.
Okay.
I have a couple, a little bit
Anyway,
of sickness.
keep going.
Anyway.
Well, because you steal them.
that
was that charge. The Louis Vuitton store here is in Marion County.
yeah.
And what's funny about
actually.
it, the Costco was at like 96th Street. So if the Costco was on the other side of the street, you would have been in Hamilton County, and this would have been gone away. But anyway, it was in Marion County.
So I get there, and they go through everything. Like, you don't think about this. If I'd have known, I would have left all of that with Julianne to take home. They went through my purse. They went through my wallet. They went through my key thing. They went through everything. Well, we had just been out of town, if you recall. And I may like the finer things in life. I enjoy all the nice things, but I'm a little bit cheap. Mm-hmm. So I had some purse vodka in there because we had been to some kind of event, a wedding or something.
No.
I ain't going to pay $16 for a drink when I can put vodka and a lemonade and be happy to go.
Suzanne gets her own setup. She just orders a Coke, and then next thing you know, there's something in her purse going into the Coke.
Yeah. So
that's why we call it purse vodka.
Yeah. So I had 2 purse vodkas.
So they're going through your purse.
They're going through everything. And so the policeman that arrested me.
I'm just wondering if as they're doing this with you, if they're going, okay,
they're going, oh my God, she's going to sue us.
Jewelry. No, I'm thinking they're going, this lady's, she's stolen this stuff.
They're looking at me apologizing, thinking, oh my God, this lady's going to sue us.
You're probably not the normal person.
Yeah, I was not the normal person.
So they go through the purse vodka.
They're taking everything out, and he holds it up, the policeman that arrested me, and I said, oh my gosh, I forgot I had that purse vodka in there. And he just kind of laughs, and I said, I had it because we were at an event, and I'm not going to pay $16 for a drink. And he laughed, and he said, that's a great idea. And when I got all my belongings back, let me tell you, that purse vodka was not there.
So either Hamilton County or
somebody.
Actually, I'm sure there's a rule that they're not allowed to give you the alcohol.
Well, I don't know, but I had lots of medication.
Did they take your jewelry? What happened?
I had lots of medication in there that I just have for everybody.
Suzanne's purse is usually filled with medication, but it's not hers. It's
no,
Julianne's,
some of it's mine, some of it's Jules, some of it's
mine, J. Daniels, whoever.
Yeah, because I carry all the things for all the people.
We keep CVS in business. Keep going.
So then they said, okay, you got to take off all of your jewelry, and they log it and everything. Well, I started taking stuff off as I'm weeping. Like, I'm crying, and they also call a nurse in. A nurse comes in, and they have to take your vitals and do all that kind of stuff. And
I'm sure your heart rate is pounding.
My heart, well, when I went to Marion County, they thought they were going to have to call in a physician because my blood pressure was so high. But she comes in, and so she's doing all my vitals, and I'm taking all this off, and I just keep taking it off and keep taking it off and keep taking it off. And the guy who's logging it, it's like you can see him.
And so what's
look
interesting
at
is,
it.
End of the story, you got out of jail eventually.
All of this.
But they hand me these because they take all your jewelry,
they go on like
all
a poster
your purse,
board,
everything you have. It
something.
goes on like a board. Think like a 4-H brush. You've got cardboard, and then they vacuum.
Yeah, they vacuum seal all of your
so it's like,
belongings.
What was that meal prep thing?
Like a seal that.
Yeah, that you used to have that commercial. Remember that press and seal? You put the thing in there, and it sucks it out, and all of a sudden you've got all your food.
Yeah.
So they do the same thing, but with your personal belongings. So usually you're allowed to have one cardboard thing of your belongings, and when I show up, they're like, "Wait, there's more than one."
I had at least 2.
You've got jewelry, rings, all this kind of stuff, and everything personal is on these 2, vacuum packed boards.
So the nurse looks at me and she goes, honey, I know you don't belong here. And I was like, you have no idea I don't belong here. And she goes, it's going to all be all right. And I said, do you think I could go to the bathroom? Is there a bathroom I could use? And she looks up to the guy and she goes, yeah, you can go right into cell number 2. And I look, and it's just a toilet. It's just a toilet in a cement room. And I said, you mean I just got to go in there and just go? Like, door open, go with it? And she said, honey, you're in jail. And I went, no, I'm not. And she goes, yeah. So I go in there and I pee, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've reached the lowest of the low. So we finished doing all the things. And then I said, I am so thirsty.
They didn't put you in like a jumpsuit or anything like that?
No, because I wasn't a prisoner. I was only in a holding cell.
Oh, because you're being held to go to Marion County.
To go to Marion County, yeah. So I asked for a bottle of water, and the guy goes, well, that sink in there in that cell, when you push it, the water comes up instead of down, and it serves as a water fountain as well. And I said, you mean I am supposed to drink out of what they wash their hands with? And he goes, yes, like it was just mainstay. So I am just
So at what point did you call me? Because I remember at this point you finally got a hold of me.
I wasn't in there yet. Then I had to be fingerprinted, and they had to do a mugshot. And so
okay, so first off, in Hamilton County, we have this wonderful thing called busted newspapers, and I'm sure every county has it. And they take pictures of mugshots, and like I would love to have a Christmas card where I'm like in the black and holding the little thing.
They put a cape around you like you get your hair cut, so you don't see your outfit.
And so like I've kind of thought it'd be kind of fun to have with that mugshot. I wonder if I could go on a tour of the jail if they'd let us do that. And you got to do that. So they put a black thing on you.
I got to do that. Free of charge.
And you go, and so
they do all that, and I'm a hot mess. I'm just so upset, and everybody's apologizing to me. And it's
nice that they're apologizing. They at least realize that you're not like a felon.
Well, I think they're really scared they're going to get sued.
For those of you that are online, I can at least show you this. So like online,
is that Facebook, my mugshot?
No, it's not. It's just this is a lady named Santina DiPetrurio.
Don't be showing people.
I'm not, but like these, I'm looking at the other. Like this lady here, Kelly Curry, whoever she is, she looks like she belongs in prison. So this is kind of the people that they're used to. So like, see that there's the mugshot. There's the mugshot. So. She has nice hair, too. Maybe she was arrested in the parking lot.
Well, what's funny is I found out later that my daughter, Queen of the One-Liners, was talking to Natalie, and she goes, well, at least Mama looked good in her mugshot. She just got her hair done.
Did she really?
She's like, Mama's going to look good in her mugshot.
Well, so this other lady who's probably in your holding cell right now, her charge is unlawful possession of a syringe.
Syringe. Yeah. Well, I mean, we're in Hamilton County. It's going to be a lot of DWI and all that.
That's what most of them are.
So, I mean, nothing.
So anyway, so you got your mugshot. I still haven't talked to you.
Yeah, and they put me, they give me, it's like feeding time. Mm-hmm. And mind you, I have had nothing to eat.
Oh, because you never made it to the club.
I never made it to the club to eat lunch. I had a little bit of breakfast early in the morning. I've had nothing to eat.
No wine, nothing.
Nothing. Thank God. Denise, my friend Denise, she goes, "Oh, I'm so glad it happened before you went to the club because you probably would have had a glass of wine and that might not have looked good." But they gave me a sack lunch and they put me in this cell. Now, let me just tell you that the cell was nothing but concrete all the way around. Orange cinder block everywhere, and then it was just benches of concrete.
Yeah.
That's all it was. And a
toilet in the middle of the room.
Stainless steel toilet, stainless steel sink.
Was anybody else in there with you?
No. 2 rolls of toilet paper.
Well, that's good in case you get sick.
That's all there was 2 rolls of toilet paper. Nothing else. So I open the sandwich and I look. It is 2 pieces of bread and it's black in the middle. Nothing but black. And I smell it and it's peanut butter, obviously, and I'm just really crying because it's just so much, gross sandwich. I'm hungry, anything. So I eat a little bit of a cookie, but I realize
you're gonna have to use that toilet. I know my wife. My wife at 34 years.
If I eat, I'm gonna have to poop.
So you're about to go on a Gandhi food.
Not eating.
You're going to go on a starvation diet so you don't poop.
Yeah, you just blink at me and I have to go. So I'm just like, I'm not eating anything.
This makes so much sense to me right now.
I'm not eating a thing. So I was starving. So I'm in there and it was
haven't
worse.
Called me yet.
Well, the phone itself is attached to the wall and there's no like handset. It's just a little cup for your ear and a cup for your mouth. And it was shorter than I was. So I had to like scrunch down and stick my head up against it. And then it took me about 15 minutes. You have to say it at the right tone. You have to say it at the right, like if it's too loud, it makes you do it again. If it's too soft, it makes you do it again. All that stuff. And I got one phone call before they started charging you. Mm-hmm. And so I called you.
And
you didn't answer.
To accept it.
Right. You didn't answer. So I called Natalie.
Well, and I didn't realize, like, I'm trying to pay attention, do all this work, calling these lawyers, doing whatever I'm trying to do to get you out of jail. Trying to literally call sheriffs, judges, everybody that I know. Sheriff. And I'm keep getting a 800 number or something from like Connecticut. I'm like, I don't know who those people are.
It was me.
I know. I didn't realize it.
It was me from the correctional facility.
No, but here's the scam. You can't call people. Like if you call me, I have to put a credit card in and pay every single time you call me. I had to pay $10 to accept it or $9.95 or whatever it is. And I'm sitting there going, this is, I mean, for the people who are incarcerated, many of them do not have the resources to be able to pay for this.
Right.
So what do they do? I mean, it's like if
they give you 2 minutes free.
I get that. How much?
And
can
then
you talk
that's
to them in 2 minutes?
all.
And then I have to set up an account and do this. So you call me. I said, I'm working on it. I'm trying my best. I'll get you out of there. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but what's funny is I called Natalie, and she goes, I knew it was you because I still have it saved in my phone as the big house when John Andrew was in jail.
That's a whole, okay. That's another episode. Our son had traffic related issues and went to jail, but that's a great story.
House.
But yeah, so she had it recorded. So thank God she saved it. And so she knew that was you. So anyway, so you call me. I said, honey, I'm doing everything I possibly can. Now, I will say from a husband's point of view, I have failed humanity and my wife, that my wife is in jail. Somehow I've taken responsibility for this. Something's going on.
It was so bad.
So I started calling. Well, finally, we get to the point that, hey, we get the prosecutor of our lawyer reaches out to the prosecutor, tells him the whole story of what's happened.
And I didn't really know all of
it. Yeah, but they pull up the
logistics.
charges and they realize he threw it out. Like the prosecutor, but he couldn't do it until
I was in Marion County.
No, he couldn't actually get the court. They can get you released because I paid the bond, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
You had to go to Marion County. So at that point, we're just waiting for them to take you to Marion County so you can be released because they can't release you here. They had to go to Marion County. You can tell that part of the story, but you go to Marion County, you get released, and then you have a court appearance date. Like you would have to go to court.
Yeah,
like
which I
April
didn't have to do.
No, but because literally when the court opened at 8:30, he was thrown out.
Yeah.
The prosecutor threw it out because they realized he's paid this bill. You guys have arrested this lady.
And we
over
could totally
like a $200.
sue.
No, you can't sue them. But anyway, the
Costco, we could.
Well, you could.
But I'm not going to. I don't even want to think about it.
Well, no. But the whole thing was this was paid. It was taken care of. Somehow it got turned into collections. The whole thing happened. But the point of the matter is, they couldn't do anything. The prosecutor himself, who threw out the charge, couldn't do anything. So at this point, I finally leave the court about 8 or the
Hamilton County?
Hamilton County Jail, because I'm just standing out front, and I'm even trying to get a hold of the sheriff of Hamilton County.
And mind you, I went in at,
First off, Dennis Quackenbush, who is the sheriff of our county, is one of the most wonderful people. The sheriffs in Hamilton County, when we had K-Trails up at Strawtown, they checked on it every single night, every single time. The animal control, we closed down for the sheriff's run. We love Sheriff Quackenbush, voted for him. He's the nicest guy in the world. I walked over to his office because I was like, if anybody can help me, Dennis can help. And he wasn't there this whole thing, but even he couldn't help. Like the sheriffs could not help. Our policeman friend here could not help. You had to go to Hamilton County. So at this point,
I had to go to Marion County.
You had to go to Marion County. So you're in a holding cell, which is
the holding cell was awful. And
you didn't know how long you're going to be there.
No, I had no idea. And I had just had eye surgery.
And if you know us on faith, I mean, I'm literally starting to pray, Lord, get my wife out of jail, spring her out of jail. I'm reading verses of when Paul, like when the prison
shackles fall off.
Shackles falling off, and I'm praying that there was an earthquake, that the jail that Paul was in freed all the prisoners, and he was still sitting there. But I'm sitting there going, free my wife. She's got to be picked up, and I knew that I'm trying to get Marion County Transport to come up here and pick you up. All this kind of stuff. So tell your experience, and then they do pick you up.
Well, eventually, yes. But in the meantime, I am in that jail cell for, was it 6 hours?
And this is like a drunk tank. Yeah, it's like
6 hours, I guess, 6 or 8 hours. 8 hours by myself with my own crazy ass thoughts by myself. Mm-hmm. That was the worst. Oh, and this is funny too. They take away your shoes and give you these crazy sandals. And John Andrew said they give you those broke ass sandals.
Are they like, hold on, are they like the sandals you get when you get your pedicure, or what are they?
Oh, well, they're like rubber sandals. Like, they might have been nice before, like if you went to a spa, but now
is this a new one, or are you like giving?
Oh no, they're gross. Like
somebody else has worn these.
Yes, one of them was a whole size too big, and one of them was small, and then also broken. But they give you those, and that's what you have to wear. But
okay, let me just tell you this real quick. When you go in as a visitor, they won't let you talk to you. Obviously, you have to go to some video thing to talk.
Right.
And the lady behind the glass is not the friendliest person ever, and so they've got the glass.
They're not.
They have the glass covered with the stuff so you can't see in there, but there's like a little cut through, like where you can see. And so like I'm eyeing her, going, I need to find out about my wife. And like, well, like she's not here yet. She ain't here yet. She's on her way.
They're
and then
not
once you're there,
nice.
they weren't the friendliest people, but she, and I guess it's because they're used to certain clientele coming in there, but like she wasn't very friendly. And so.
Well, I went back to pick up my medication the next day, and she was not super nice.
Okay, so you're in the holding cell.
Yeah,
and one of the phone calls. So you did start calling me at this point, and just remember $9.95 a minute or whatever when you call.
I call you about every couple
hours. And you're
hours.
crying. I'm like, honey, I'm crying.
And it's not that kind of crying. It's this kind. Like when a baby is so tired and they're crying, they go.
Yeah, it kind of is.
It's like my head was like.
And I'm a failure
shaking.
as a husband because they can't get you out of jail, and you're waiting there and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, is it clean? You're like, no. If they would just give me some cleaning stuff, I'll clean this whole thing for you.
I went in and I got all that was in there was the toilet paper. So I get the toilet paper. I'm so bored. I'm so tired. I'm so hungry, and I just start cleaning. I mean, what do I know to do?
Haven't pooped.
I clean all the things and I sit down, and then I thought, okay, if I laid down, maybe.
Did they give you a pillow? Do they give you anything?
No, it's concrete. That maybe time would pass if I lay down. So I take the toilet paper because I'm so freaked out about how dirty it is. I take the toilet paper and I just roll the toilet paper out. Just keep on rolling it until I could lay down and put my head on it.
This is like an episode of Oz.
And
I love
then
Oz.
I took the toilet paper roll and I put it under my neck, so it was kind of like if I laid there. And then because they don't turn the lights off, the lights are on all the time, I took some toilet paper and I went over to the sink and I got the toilet paper wet, and like when you go to the spa and they put those little things on your eyes, so I put the things on my eyes so that when I closed my eyes it was a little more dark. And so I was laying there with my head on toilet paper with the toilet paper roll underneath my neck and the two little toilet paper pieces on my eyes.
Okay, so it gets dark. We talk. I literally couldn't sleep in our bed because I didn't want to be there without you.
And I'm pacing back and forth singing, Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper.
We're not going to have to pay licensing on that. But anyway, so this is our longest podcast so far. So keep going. So I come home, and on my side, I go and lay on the sofa in here where my father spent the last part of his life, and I literally prayed there. And being a Catholic, I believe in praying to the saints and those who have passed before us and asking them to pray for us.
Is there a saint that's about jail?
Oh, I'm sure there is, but I was saying, I was even praying to my dad, or not asking my dad, not praying, but just saying, Dad, please pray for Suzanne and others. But as I knew that we would get through the morning, so I think our last phone call was around 2 or so.
I just wanted to know
what time. And the thing that I knew is
I
never knew. They couldn't tell me when you're being transported, because the transport thing is you never know when it's coming, you never know when it arrives. At some point during the next couple of days, your wife's going to go in a transport down to Marion County. I don't know when. So I'm praying that this happens at some point. So in the middle of the night, they come and get you.
At 2:00 in the morning, they came and got me.
Which this is a miracle that they came.
Yeah, and she knocked. Well, she didn't knock. She opened the door, the lady, and she brought me my shoes. And she said, put your shoes on. They're here to take you to Marion County. And I was like, oh, thank God. So I get up and I get my shoes on and everything. And when I walk around, you kind of have to go around that big desk that they book you at.
I don't know what it's like, but yeah.
You walk around and there's like a bench. And he goes, when have you ever been to Marion County? When's the last time you went to Marion County? Because I couldn't find your picture anywhere or anything about you. And I said, honey, I don't even go to Castleton after dark.
Which is in Marion County.
Which is in Marion County. It's a mall.
So when I watch TV and those guys are going to court, like, the people, they're always in like a black SUV, kind of being, escorted into courthouse and all that kind of stuff. And
hell no. So he tells me to put my knees on this bench. I put my knees on the bench and I put my hands against the wall. And I'm thinking, why in the world is he doing this? I don't know what's happening. And he puts shackles on my little Tory Burch ankles. I've got on my good sandals. He's putting the shackles on my ankles. And then I really began to cry. I said, why are you doing this? He says, well, that's what we have to do. And then he handcuffs
So this is middle of the night.
Yes, 2:00 in the morning. And he handcuffs my hands behind my back. And then he walks me out to the garage where the, cars come in and out for prisoners. And it's a van. Mm-hmm. Like a white.
I see him. It says transport
on it. And he opens it up and it's like a hole. It's a hole in a van. And I have to crawl up and get in there. And the seat that my butt has to sit on is legit not even half of what my butt is. And my knees are touching touching the other side. And I looked at him before I got in there and I said, I can't get in there. And he says, well, everybody does. And I says, well, I can't. I'm old and I'm tired and I can't do that. And you have my hands and my feet shackled. I can't get in there. And he said, well, you're just going to have to. So somehow.
So how old is this transport officer?
John Andrews' age.
Oh, you're kidding. So he's like in his 20s.
He's in his 20s.
He's looking at his old lady.
Yeah, he's in his 20s. So somehow I crawl up in there and I get on, and there's legit no room because my hands are behind my back. So it's pushing you out. My butt's barely on the thing. And I look and I see that there are 4 seat belts. They would have put 4 people in there. I don't even see how that's possible. And I'm so claustrophobic.
And you're trying to get into like a little submarine.
Yes, and they close that door, and it's like...
Okay, so did he help you get in?
I crawled with my knees and my elbows because I couldn't get in there, and he can't touch me. So I got in. I don't even remember how. I was delirious, but it's not one door that shuts. It's 2 doors, and then he goes around and gets in the van, and it's this little tiny window. And by then, I don't even know how I had tears to cry, but they were just coming, and I was crying so hard. My shoulders were going up and down. I was crying so hard. And I swear to God, he hit every pothole on the way on purpose because I was jolted off of that thing. And the drive was about 45 minutes.
To Marion County.
To Marion County. And when I got to Marion County, finally he comes around and he opens the door, and I said, I can't get out. And he just looks at me like a dumb kid. And I said, I cannot get out. My hands, there's nothing to hold on to. I can't, how am I supposed to get out? And he just looked at me and he goes, well, I guess if you just kind of flop down on your, backside and scoot forward. I said, so you want me to fall and then fall out of the truck? That's how I'm getting out of here. And he said, well, I don't know what else to tell you. So I did. I kind of flopped down. And when I got out, I looked at him and I said, well, thanks a lot. I just peed a little. And he just looked at me and laughed because I was like, are you kidding me? So I go in, and there are these 2 police officers, and they're standing there.
That's a whole other episode about menopause and the women's body changing and different things of that nature. But bladder control is probably not the greatest thing.
It's not great.
For a
And when you're
56-year-old woman
flopping around. So these 2 policemen stand there, and they got their hands on their belts and everything, looking for
Well, they're looking at the criminal coming up from...
Yeah, and I walk in, and I just got real close to him, as close as I could get, and I go, I am real scared. Real scared.
Well, first off, my fear is when you go to Marion County, I think it's going to be
not a
really,
nice
really
place.
rough. I think
It was rough.
No, but, and you can tell me the story, but the people in Marion County were really nice to you, though.
They were actually very nice. Actually, everybody was really nice. The people in in Hamilton County, I think tried to not be nice because they knew it was not something that should happen, but I think they were putting on a not nice face.
Yeah, but Marion County, they treated you okay. So you got there.
Well, I got there and
at this point in time, I knew if you were transported because they couldn't tell me when you were transported. I had a phone call about 6:30 in the morning.
From me?
From you, and you said, I'm in Marion County.
Yeah.
So as soon as you said that, I knew that at 8:30 when the court opened, I could get, because
I didn't know I could call you for free. Here in Marion County, they just have phones set up, and I didn't have to pay for it.
So in Hamilton County, you had to pay.
Right.
So I get this phone call about 6:30. So at that point, I realized, okay, this is great. Even though I paid, here's another shtick. I paid your bond and fine and all that kind of stuff, whatever it was, on like 4:30, right before they closed. Mm-hmm. And they said, if she doesn't get picked up within 24 hours, this won't be applied. And it had to be applied.
Would you have to pay it again?
Well, they would eventually refund it, and you have to pay it again. So that's not a scam. But here's the whole thing, though.
That is a scam.
It is a scam. But anyway, they could not issue the release until you were in their custody. And so the office closed at 4:30, opened again at 8:30 or whatever it was in the morning. So I was there about 7:30 waiting for them to open. As soon as you gave me the phone call that you were down in Marion County, I headed down there. Now, from the outside, Marion County just built a beautiful new jail.
Oh, yes, it's beautiful. Just lovely.
No, but from the outside,
it's the Ritz.
It's got great landscaping. It's the government center. It's where the jury duty is, all that kind of stuff. Beautiful courthouse. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm sitting there waiting, and the lady who's at the front desk reminded me of your mother. This is an episode of my mother-in-law. Mm-hmm. She was like, because your mother was a receptionist for Word, and then she was a receptionist for the Dallas Mavericks, and it was like, Hamilton County Jail, please hold. And she was like, oh, how can I help you, young man? And I'm like, oh, thank you. And she's
I'm rotting in the cement cell downstairs.
She said, oh, you're here to pay that? Well, they open at 8:30. You can just sit here or there. There's a cup of coffee down the hall if you want to go down there. So I'm having a time. As soon as they open, I'm the first person in line.
Yeah.
They give me a release. They call, and I said, okay, now that my wife's released, how long will it take? They said, well, it could take a couple of hours. I'm like, You're one floor below me at this point in time. I've paid this 24 hours ahead of time, or 12 hours ahead of time, whatever it is, and it's going to take a couple of hours. Well, we've got to get it down to the jail.
Well, you wouldn't believe what all I had to do in order to get to that point.
Okay, so you're in. You arrive in Marion County. You arrive in Marion County. Do they have all your stuff? Did they give you your stuff back? Or?
They give me.
Like, where's your purse at this point in time?
They handed it from that police officer, gave it to this other lady, who, by the way, was...
So that's where the purse vodka disappears.
No, well, it's gone by then. The one Caucasian woman in the whole thing, and she was so mean. She was so mad. She saw my purse, and she saw all my jewelry and stuff, and she turned around to the guy who handed it to her and said... What in the world is all this? You mean I got to do this now? I mean, she was mad. But the little girl that took me and processed me then, she said, well, this isn't another strip search, is it? I've been having to do strip searches all night. And I was like, oh, dear Jesus, they're going to take me in there and they're going to strip search me. I was terrified because the minute you walk in, you are not, we are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. I mean, it was a whole different environment. Completely different.
We have neighbors that both work at the Marion County Jail. The people that built this nice White House here. They're both correctional officers that work in the jail. Wonderful.
Why didn't you call them?
You don't think I tried?
Go down, knock on their door.
No, but the whole thing. They're wonderful people. They built a wonderful house. I appreciate law enforcement officers.
Well, I do too.
Never through this conversation should you think that we are questioning law enforcement.
They all did their job, they were supposed to do. They were all very kind to me.
And we're not making any racial comments. We're not making anything. Do I believe that there is an injustice of how many people of color are incarcerated? Absolutely. When you look at Hamilton County or when you look at Marion County, so it's funny because I approached one of my, if you look at that busted newspaper, there are a high number of Hispanics and African Americans that are incarcerated. Now, what's funny is I try to be a social activist and tell one of my policeman friends, I said, hey, why are there so many people of color? Like, it seems like it's outrageous. And he goes, you know what's even worse? He goes, we seem to arrest more people with facial hair than without facial hair. And I looked at the pictures, and he's right. He says, if you want to keep your kid out of jail, make sure he shaves every day.
Oh, well, that ain't going to happen.
It's not going to happen because both of our kids have facial hair. But if you do go look at mugshots, notice how many people, women included, have facial hair.
I'm just saying, this woman, the oldest lady that was there, that looked the most like
everybody
what I would
talked to in Marion County was awesome.
Everybody was, except for this one lady, and she was just a real
piece of work.
She was just very, very grouchy, but everybody was super sweet, and they took me in. Well, I had these earrings in my second holes, these little hoops, and they didn't say anything about it at Hamilton County, but when you come to Marion County, you have to take legitimately everything off. So they had to cut those earrings out of my ears because they wouldn't come out. And then I had to get fingerprinted again, another mugshot. And then you have to meet with a nurse yet again. You have to give a urine sample. So I go into one of the cells to do my urine sample, and the floor was so sticky that I couldn't even walk. Like, it made that noise.
Are you in your shoes?
I'm in my shoes. I didn't have to change in anything in Marion County. But you go in there, you do a urine sample, you put it in, and they really do monitor. And a lot of the nurses that are there, they because they have so many people coming down off of drugs and everything. And
oh yeah, that makes sense.
And so they have to constantly keep a watch. And if they have to do like what's the one they give you if you're on meth and
yeah, no.
Anyway. Whatever that is in between, they can give you that if whatever. So I go in and I'm on the woman's side, and then the other side are where all the men are. And
or those who identify as male.
They were men, trust me. But it was just a different caliber of.
So were you in a room with a bunch of other people at this point? Or you in a
I was. Cell? I was in one big room with all the other
women. Once again,
women.
A holding cell. This is not jail.
No,
or this is not,
it was different when you go in Marion County. It was more like a lobby. They had a TV, they had the phones you could use and stuff like that, and you were just kind of out open concept. Then they gave us a nasty sandwich and they put us in a holding cell, and there were probably, I don't know, maybe 12 of us in there, and I'm just keeping to myself, just sitting real quiet. Well, this one girl comes in, relatively young, probably in her 20s. She comes in and she is losing it, and of course she sits down by me, and I'm just trying to.
Did you mother her?
No, you know what, I've got to say, while I was in that holding cell in Hamilton County, and I was by myself
And I
with all
said,
my
did
thoughts.
you mother her? Because if you know Suzanne, she is mother to everybody.
And I was sitting in that cell, and I was kind of praying, and I said, you know what? I'm glad there's nobody in here with me because I would be afraid. But on the other hand, if somebody came in here with me and they needed me, I would be
available.
I would be so on board with that. You know, if you need me to hold your hair back while you're throwing up, I'll do it. You know, and they never sent me anybody. But I was thinking, you know, I would totally do that. But anyway, these girls did not need mothering. They needed Jesus. So she is coming out and she is saying that she's going to, you know, F you up and do this. And I'm going to get your ass, blah, 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 blah. And she's banging on the glass. Let us out, let us out. And so they won't let you out until everybody's finished eating or say that they're finished. And so then they let you out. And then there was another girl that came in that tried to get all the urine samples out. And they knew her by name, so she must be a frequent flyer down there. And
I wonder why she wants the urine samples.
They have to test to see if you're pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And then, sorry, babe, not preggers. So then you go back up, and when she took my blood pressure this time, she took it about 4 times, and she said, I'm going to go get this other cuff and see if it works a little bit better because we may have to call the
And this is still
physician.
Early morning, middle of the night, early morning.
Yeah, this is probably like 5:30 in the morning. And I said, well, you know, this is the deal. And you also have to meet with a parole officer, which is what I did. And this sweet little parole officer, she was also super young, probably, you know, late 20s or early 30s. And she was asking me all these questions, you know, like, do you feel safe in your home?
Does your husband beat you?
Yeah, essentially. Questions like that, you know, how much do you drink, blah, 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 blah. And then and I'm like, honey, none of those apply to me. And then she said, drugs. And I was like, no. And she said, marijuana. And I said, no. And she goes, ever? I said, no, Christian high school, Christian college. I'm sorry. And so she looked at my paper and she looked at me and she goes, I'm just going to answer the rest of these for you.
So she didn't ask
She didn't even ask me anything else. She just went through and she goes, I'm so sorry. And you're just the nicest person I've ever had to process in my whole career.
You got that going for you.
Yeah. And
so as we wrap up this episode, as we wrap up the story, you did get out. You came out.
I did. There were girls climbing the walls and screaming. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well, and we never thought in a million years that you'd be in jail. But as you came out, you were relieved to see me and hugged me and then told me don't squeeze you so tight because you had to poop.
I just sat in the car and I said, I just have to poop so bad.
Don't squeeze me. I got to go to the bathroom. And how quick can you get home? Get me home. I need my toilet. I need
a shower.
Yeah. And at this point, we are embarrassed that you had to go through this. We didn't,
and I was super embarrassed that anybody would know or see it.
Well, what's so funny is
think I had like a DUI or think that I
every
had done
person who
bad.
gets their photo made as a mugshot, then they release it, and then it does go on Facebook. And so I get a phone call from Carrie at 7:30 in the morning.
My Carrie?
Your Carrie, one of our best friends. Carrie called me and said, "Why is Suzanne's photo?" Why am I getting a phone call from, and she mentioned Caroline. She goes, why am I getting a phone call from Caroline that your wife is in jail? I'm like, well, she's no longer in Hamilton County. She's in Marion County. I said, I'm on it. I'm aware. We're working. He goes, but what happened? I said, long story. She didn't do anything, and I'm not at fault. That's basically what I told her. And she goes, all right, whatever. And so
she goes, of all the stewards.
Well, so of all the stewards, you're not the one.
one.
So what's funny, though, is like, we don't know who runs Busted Newspaper or anything of that nature, but I sent him a note, and I said, would you consider taking my wife's photo down?
You didn't say, would you consider?
No,
you said, take it down.
Or I was going to take legal action. Yeah, I did maybe threaten something saying, this was thrown out. The prosecutor released the charges. She's done nothing. And I literally said, my wife is... as a Christian lady who, literally never is in trouble. I said, please remove this photo. And they did. They replied back and said,
just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you don't do anything bad.
No.
I'm just a don't do anything bad person.
Well,
Christian or not.
And if for some reason I have taken an air of superiority here, if anybody in our family has been in jail, I was the first one. So that's another episode. But mine was traffic related as well. And it's been more than once. There was a time when I was arrested taking you back to your dorm room.
You were?
at Evangel.
Totally forgot about that.
Yes. And I was taking her back, and it's like she's at a Christian college. I'm a kid that came from California and was engaged to Suzanne, and they didn't know anything about me. But all they knew was that the police lights were out in front of Burgess Hall.
Totally forgot about that.
You had curfew at midnight, I think it was, or 1 a.m. What time's your curfew there?
1.
You had a curfew at 1 a.m., which meant I was pulling into the parking lot at 11 or 12:59. And so everybody else is going to the dorm at 12:59 because it's curfew on a Friday night. And why are those police cars surrounding John's car? And why are they arresting him? And then I think I yelled at you saying, go to the ATM. I gave you my card. I said, go to the ATM, get cash. And you ended up bailing me out like after you could leave in the morning or whatever.
I just remember having a bail bondsman knock on my door when I was teaching. Knock on my classroom door.
These are stories for future episodes. So today was about mother-in-laws.
I have your husband in the car downstairs.
I love that. That's a Grant Hubbard related story, and I'm wearing a Michael W. Smith tour jacket. I'll tell you that later. But mother-in-laws, you're a good mother-in-law. You love.
I hope so.
Well, no, and Natalie, we are so blessed. She made a post on Facebook one time about how happy she was just to spend time with you one day, and I'm like, you guys have a great relationship.
I think we do. I really do. I love being
with
her.
And we, our kids, John Andrew and Natalie have a dog now that's our grand dog, and we get to spoil it. And you are known as Nana to the dog.
Literally, like she knows my name.
So at some point when we're blessed with kids, you're probably going to be Nana. And the dog knows me as the most important man in the room. Is that what it's called? What's the dog call me?
Pops.
Pops. Yeah, I'm Pops. I don't know if I like that. It sounds like a cereal. Pops. Nana and Pops. But we're trying those names out. And we have a grand dog. We're spoiling the grand dog and think that the grand dog should stay at our house rather than at their house because we know more about dogs and we're going to raise the dog well. We do. But the one thing we've learned is by being in-laws, we're trying to be loving, supportive in-laws. We had in-laws who literally would support us no matter what. My father-in-law, when we didn't have a car, bought a Cadillac for us, and it wasn't a new Cadillac, but it was a Cadillac that he thought his daughter deserved to be in. Your mom has always prayed for us, has always supported us, has always called and helped us. And my mother, if you read the book of Ruth in the Bible, you have become Ruth to my mother. After my father passed. Every day I see my mom, she says, my greatest blessing is Suzanne. Because she has a daughter and she has 2 sons. We're not the ones taking care of her. You are. And you do have a spirit of whither thou goest, I will go. But in your situation, it's really wherever you need to go, I will drive you.
I will drive you there.
Because my 89-year-old mom doesn't drive. And she goes to Bridge, you take her. She gets her nails done, you take her.
I'm buying toenails this week so I can put them on her toes because she had surgery.
You are an amazing daughter-in-law. And I know that if your mother needed that care, that I would do that for her.
I'm sure you would.
I would sign a TV distribution deal beforehand because it would be comical me taking care of your mother.
It would be great TV.
Yeah, it really would. But no, at the end of the day, I may, every time your mom comes and visits, I might have a work trip around the same time.
And I think we all benefit from that.
Yeah. And your mother, my brother gave me a lesson. We'll kind of close with this. When I first got married, the lesson he learned from his mother-in-law, because David's mother-in-law liked to tell him how to be a better parent because she wrote a book on parenting and children. They had 5 children. But my brother told me, it took me years to realize there are certain things that you can argue about with your mother-in-law, and there are certain things you just need to learn to let go. I was like, what are you talking about? And your mother is gifted in that and she told me one time, she goes, John, you are the right son-in-law for me because you're the one who God chose for me. Because and she said this, she goes, my personality is I have to tell you what I think. I have to tell you my opinion.
She got to get it out, man.
She has to get it out. And she goes, and the great thing is about you is you don't listen to any of it. And she says, you do what you feel God's called you to do. And I said, thank you. But she does. She has to tell me the way she thinks. Well, my brother told me there are certain things you let go. Like when Ingrid would tell him that the weather in Springfield, Missouri was the greatest weather in the world, he said, I used to argue with her because I've been to the south of France and I've been to certain places. I don't think Springfield, Missouri and its humidity is really the nicest weather in the world. But he goes, it's not worth talking about. But when Ingrid tells me how to raise my son or how I need to discipline my son, I would argue with her like, that's my son, you need to back off, be a grandparent role. And so he at least taught me there are certain things you argue about with your mom, you don't. And I always tried to protect you from your mom, which that's not a good thing. You can stand up for yourself and you can have your own defenses.
Oh, finally.
Yeah, but, your mom says certain things. I mean, neither one of us, we have aging bodies, and she looks at you and she goes, she's like,
I do not have a tumor, by the way.
She looks at you and she's like, are you sure you're not pregnant? Yes.
Are you
I've
sure
had 3
that's
kids.
not a tumor?
Are you sure that's not a tumor?
Have you not had a...
Have you not gone to the doctor? That could be a tumor.
And had an x-ray.
She's like, it is not a tumor.
I am just fat.
She won't accept it. But anyway. So, and your mother, we talk about gift of tongues and interpretation. When your mother, first off, if your mother can't reach you, like if she calls you 2 or 3 times in a row, she'll call me next.
Yeah.
And if I'm not available, she'll call one of our kids.
The kids. That's right.
She calls and calls. And then it's usually something like, well, where's Suzanne? Well, she's busy doing this. Okay, well, I was just calling. It's like,
well, I just need to know where she was.
And then, but the gift of tongues and interpretation, I'll read what she texts you or me. I'm like, I have no understanding what she's saying here. And you have a gift of interpretation.
That's right.
Because your mom, does she do voice to text? Is that?
I don't know what she does, but you gotta know the language.
When you get the text, I have no idea what she's saying.
I know. It's like Morse code. Yeah. You have to crack it.
Well, I love you, babe. I love
babe.
you, even though you're a felon.
Even though I'm a felon.
A criminal. You, are a pretty special lady to me, and
I have experiences that will go far and beyond.
Yeah, I may end up giving you an orange jumpsuit for Christmas.
You do, and you're dead.
That's good. So join us on our next episode. This was all about mother-in-laws, even though we really didn't talk too much about mother-in-laws. But our next episode will be episode number 10.
Wow, that's kind of a milestone number.
It is, and I think we will talk about one of us likes to poop.
No, because we all know that's me.
Well, come to find out. So join us on the next episode. By the way, you can follow us on Facebook, on YouTube. Please tell other people about the Marry Your Best Friend podcast. I am blessed to be married to my best friend, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. If you have any suggestions, feel free to reach out to us on social media or via email. We love y'all. Thanks for listening. And if you do get thrown in jail, you can always call us, and
because we know the drill.
We do know the drill, and I'll try to bail you out.